Hello, everybody. Welcome to our fabulous masterclass where we are going to dive into the world of cloth pads, eco-friendly alternatives. We're going to learn about the reality of disposables and what they mean for us and the world. And I want to introduce you to my new partner in crime, Sarah, who is the creator of a beautiful, amazing line of cloth pads that I'm really excited about, and a partnership that we have started, and I can't wait to tell you guys about it. So I'm going to just start off, do a little intro on me, a little intro on her. We'll talk a little bit how we end up being cloth pad nerds, basically. And then we'll give you a little story of our collaboration, and we'll go into the downsides of disposables, eco-friendly alternatives, why we ended up being cloth pad nerds, basically. And then answer any questions that you guys have. We'll talk about the care and upkeeping and all that good stuff for cloth pads as well. So that's my itinerary. Do feel free to, if you have questions and you're watching the recording, please feel free to head over to the Red Circle Lady Business Facebook group and post questions, because Sarah and I are both in there and we are happy to answer them. It's a perfect forum for it. So let us know. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly give you guys a rundown. I am known as the period coach. I'm a big fan of ending the taboo and talking all things menstrual. I really got into this idea because many, many years ago when I was in high school, I had really, really bad periods. And aside from the cramps and the vomiting and the pain and the medications that none of them worked, and the migraines and all the bad stuff, I also would pass out in public, which is a little embarrassing as a teenager, as I'm sure you can imagine. But the worst part about it was when I would come to and someone would say, "What happened to you?" I would have to lie about it, because when I said I got my period, they'd be like, "Ew, TMI, that's super gross. I don't want to hear about that." And I'd be like, "Well, but you want to know why I passed out, and that's why I passed out." So fast forward many, many years, and here we are where I was doing hormonal balance coach and working with women with PMS and mood swings and all of those delightful parts of being a woman whose hormones aren't totally in balance. And I was talking to a business coach who asked me just really what pisses me off. Like, just he point blank was like, "Well, what pisses you off the most? What's something that for a long time has pissed you off?" And I said, "The fact that I have to lie about what's going on in my body to make other people feel comfortable." Like, food poisoning became my appropriate security blanket. And, you know, people only buy food poisoning so many times in a row before they start to wonder what the heck's really going on. But, you know, as I would say, my period, and then we'd start the whole shame cycle again. So that's when I really decided that the taboo is my mission in life, and defeating it, getting women to have these conversations. And I honestly, to the very depths of my womb, the deepest part of my body, believe truly that if we as women can have these conversations, can have like a taboo-free zone, judgment-free zone, and really have these conversations, we could save each other and ourselves a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort, a lot of the hormonal imbalances that we have, a lot of the competition. And honestly, if you think about it, if we could really connect to our cycles, if we could really have these conversations, not just with ourselves, but with others, but if we could really get into tune with what's going on in our bodies, the confidence and the power that would bring us as women, that would extend and ripple out and go to sister, womb to womb, worldwide. We could really put a whole network around this world of women who just have the confidence and the power to stand in their own being, their own truth. And wouldn't that just change the world completely? It would, because there's no other, it just would. So, so this is my mission. This is what I'm attempting to do. And this is why we're having these kinds of conversations where we're going to go ahead and just get into a big freaking taboo. What do you do with your blood? What's a safe way, an economic way, an eco-friendly way? Like, what is a really good way to deal with your blood and do good by your body and the world at the same time? So we're going to talk about that today. Thank you for letting me ramble. Sarah, I'm going to toss it over to you, girl.
Okay, cool. So, I am a maker of cloth pads. I started a business called Jalila 7 years ago, and it kind of started from a whole. I'd just had my kids, and I'd always been really focused on saving the planet in some form, and just being really drawn to culture and society and people all taking care of what we've been fortunate enough to live in. So so I just had my kids, and I was, I guess, running low on money, and I hated my period, and my husband was a student full time, and so every penny was important. So I went about starting to make my own cloth pads because I was using cloth diapers or nappies on my kids, and so I thought, well, how different could it be really? So I went about and made my own, and then I did a bit of Googling, and lo and behold, cloth pads was a thing. And I was like, I went and had a look at a few eco-friendly shops that were in my area, which were mostly parenting shops. And found that the cloth pads that were there were completely boring and unattractive and plain and just wrapped with a layer of PUL on the outside and just weren't attractive at all. And I thought, no, I can do better than that. So I started making them for myself, and then a few people, I was a member of a mothers group which was all about gentle parenting and earth-aware parenting and stuff like that. So all of them were kind of like, oh, can you make me some? And lo and behold, Jalila was born. And originally we focused on using upcycled materials. So I would go around to op shops and I would source old funky sheets or curtains or 1970s style dresses, and I'd be hacking into them. Now it's not really feasible to run the business that way, but unfortunately I would love to. But yeah, so that's where Jalila was born. I am just loaded with a passion to have women just be aware of everything in their life that they can do to support the environment, to support themselves, and to empower themselves to take care of themselves. They don't need a big corporation to tell them how to do that. They follow their instincts. They follow their own internal sense of themselves. And taking care of your cycle is just one way you can do that. So that's what Jalila does. That's what we hope we teach people.
Love it.
Good enough?
Love it. Perfect. So I love that you kind of came to the cloth pads thing via economy as well as eco-friendliness. I kind of got there in a similar way. I was in a dance company in high school. Well, I was in a dance company for most of my childhood and early adult life. But when I was in high school, actually it was in college, a woman that was there told me about the cup. There was the Keeper. This is the 1990s, and it was 100% rubber, and they were making them for dancers because we couldn't have like a string pop out on stage or any of those kinds of tampon related issues happening. So we started using these cups, and they were fantastic, and I loved them. But I was never really a huge fan of blocking up my flow, which at the time was pure instinct. I just preferred pads to either a cup or a tampon, knowing nothing about any of it, just knowing that that's what I preferred, except that pads would give me diaper rash.
Yeah.
There's really no other way to say it. It was diaper rash. That's really what it was. And I hated that. So I came across cloth pads also in the late 90s. And just, that was it. I had my cup and I had my cloth pads, and I've bought the occasional packet of non-applicator organic tampon things when I'm out and about and I'm just stuck, like once in a great blue moon. So it really became it really started off as just, well, I didn't want to deal with that feeling and that like diaper rash feeling, and I didn't want to deal with the cup all of the time, especially on light days, because I have so many light days. It was just like, you know what, this is crazy. I'm just going to be like cloth pad lady, except for when I'm performing or I have to go out or something, and have done it ever since. And I have to give a little shout out to my roommate in New York for 6 years, who is a fabulous gay man and put up with cloth pads hanging from the shower curtain. And was like, okay with it. And he was like, yeah, it's fine. It happens. I mean, what are you going to do? You got to put them somewhere. Yeah, I get it. It's fine. But also, I also got very sick every month, and I spent like a good 48 hours on the on the floor of our bathroom, just throwing up and crying up. And he'd bring me like tea and pillow and blankets, because sometimes I just sleep on the floor of the bathroom. And anyway, it was very forgiving of my of my nonsense there. But that's really how I was sold. It took me like, I think maybe one cycle with cloth pads when I was like, that's it, this is my jam. I like these so much more. And then one of the other things that I really have learned over the years using eco-friendly alternatives is just that your period is a diagnostic tool. So the color of your blood, clots, a lot, little, big, small, spotting, all of these things can tell you what's going on in your hormones. And if you can't really get a good look or a good view or see it, or there's, the chemical smell from tampons or pads, you can't really know what's going on with your own body. And that was a really big selling point for me. The more I learned how our period is such an amazing diagnostic tool for our body as women, and just having that check-in every month and being able to go, oh yeah, look, we're great. We've got no spotting. It's bright red blood. It's not dark brown. I have a few little clots, but little tiny ones, not a big deal. Totally normal. No big clots, no big fibroids or anything. Like, okay, great. We're good. Good. Yeah. We're good. Moving on. So that really helped a lot to really seal the deal, so to speak. And it's something that I would encourage anyone who is thinking about making the switch to consider, because there's such a perfect way to, use your period to figure out exactly what's going on in the body. So when I have to agree with you on the diagnostic tool thing, or on the ugly pads thing.
Yes.
Because when I was looking for pads, I would only be able to find them with like fish on bicycles or puppy dogs or like baby ducks or something. And I get it. Right? I totally get it. It's like moms with leftover fabric from making diapers for the kids. Like, I totally get that. But I'm not a mom. And even if I was a mom, I still wouldn't a pad with like baby ducks on it. So I actually have spent a lot of time looking for alternatives. I found one many, many years ago in Canada that had great pads, but they no longer exist. And so I found somebody on Etsy that kind of got what I was trying to do and sort of put stuff together. But when Sarah came and said, hey, I'm launching my business again. I think you would be really into what I'm doing. I sent her a message back that said, only if you'll give me really sassy fabric. I want rock star fabric. I don't want fish on bicycles. She was like, yeah,
Yeah.
me either. So meeting all of my minimum requirements for a partnership, we started.
Yeah.
So, but the more I got to know her company, and the more I got to know the really awesome eco-friendly involvement in it, I really was sold easily. But I thought that I kind of go into the downside of disposables with everybody here today so that we can kind of get a good view. So one of the things that you learn as you study hormonal balance is that things like chemicals are really bad for your hormones. So something that's very popular in the health world is to talk about chemical cleaners, bleaches and fabric softeners and the spray cleaners for the house, and all of these things are terrible endocrine system disruptors, and we're super comfortable talking about that. But no one mentions the bleached cotton wad going into your vagina, which is an amazingly absorptive place. That's just too far. We can't talk about that though. So coming to find out that that actually is really bad for our hormones, especially at such a sensitive time in our cycle, a lot of women experience heightened cramps, pain, bloating, heightened symptoms, headaches even, and mood swings, forget it, craziness, using disposable products, especially tampons. That being said, there are organic tampons and pads, and here's my asterisk on that. Cotton is not an eaten crop. So the standards of organic for food crops versus textile crops is different. That being said, I would not want to use cotton, even organic, because it still will have a chemical load on it. And the last thing that I really want to be sure that I put out there is that even if it's 100% cotton, a tampon is still going to absorb everything in your body, everything that's in the vaginal canal. So even during your menstrual phase, your period, there's still sensitive things going on in there, and to basically absorb your vaginal canal dry is not good for your well-being. The whole environment of your womb and vagina, the whole yoni, shall we say, as the encompassing word there, has a very delicate balance to it. There's yeast and bacteria. It's got its own actual balance to it. And when you're using chemical products and inserting things that are going to absorb everything around it and pull them all out, you are actually disrupting that delicate biosphere that's going on in there. And you are actually, in fact, pulling part of the soft tissue, the inside lining of the vaginal canal, out with a tampon, because it absorbs and it kind of fuses in there. So for all those women that have felt like there was a ripping sensation happening when they are taking out a tampon, you're not crazy and it's not in your head. It's actually what's happening in a lot of respects. And then yes, absolutely, pads are not quite as intrusive, but the plastics that are on the top of the liners are absolutely horrific for your body. You're still getting that absorptive quality because liquid absorbs, and you're just exchanging there, and that fluid is also lifting up. You're still putting chemicals right next to a very sensitive and absorptive part of your body. It is what it is made to do, is to intake, right? And then as well as you're screwing up that microbiome again. The plastic lining there is causing the heat in that area to rise. They're not getting the breathability So it's also kind of messing up with your microbiome. And then as far as the world is concerned, the second most disposed of product after diapers is menstrual products. And the problem with that is, but cotton is biodegradable. It's not a big deal, except that in a landfill, organic material like blood in that environment turns to the gases that are destroying or creating the greenhouse effect. Let me say that. The gases are creating the greenhouse effect. So we're actually, as we dispose of these things, pads or tampons into the garbage, which they shouldn't be going into the toilet, P.S., but into the garbage. And then here we are actually adding to the greenhouse effect because we are not actually disposing of our blood in a way that's good for the environment. So between the bad for your body and holy crap, bad for the environment, oh my God, disposables are just really not the way to go. They're, honestly, they're the like, holy shit, I'm in the middle of nowhere and I just got my period and I need to grab something. And like, that's it. There really should not be something that we're using on a day-to-day basis. Not for you, not for your health, nor for the environment's health. And Sarah, do you have anything that you want to add to that?
Yeah. So the thing about the environment thing, if you look at it in the sense of like disposable cloth nappies, there's a warning on the packet that says you should put any of the poo into the toilet and then throw the disposable in the bin. But people don't do that. They throw the entire waste in the bin. If we were working in a hospital and we were operating on someone and we had swabs that were filled with blood and it would be labelled as offensive waste. And I mean, how the hospital system deals with blood and stuff like that is a whole nother thing anyway, but yeah, it just shouldn't be going into landfill, whether it's a cotton tampon or a disposable pad. It needs to be dealt with appropriately, and really this is the only way that 50% of the world's population should be dealing with it. And there would be so much better for the environment if everybody just learnt this, just one simple thing. So yeah, it's crazy, but that's how it is. And as I say, the hospital waste thing is another thing, but even they, there's a different system for how they dispose of their waste, and there should be. If people are going to use disposables, there should be a different system for that, but there's not. So this is what we do instead. And apart from that, I mean, if you think about it, every disposable pad, every disposable nappy that's ever been used in the entire world is still in landfill.
Yeah.
It has not broken down. It has not become a part of a biodegradable environment. They're still sitting there in their form. So when you look at it like that, it's just crazy. And that's only, 50 years? That's been used. So when you think of it like that, if that's only 50 years and the amount that the world has seen in climate change and things like that in 50 years, you add another 50 years on top of that, and it's just going to be, the world is not going to be inhabitable for too much longer if we keep doing things like this. So
no, that's the truth.
So not to be doomsday about it, but, we have a responsibility. So that's
absolutely. It's something that we can do as well.
Yeah, and that's right.
Sometimes makes all the difference. It's something that you can do.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. So then I just wanted to move into the topic of there's lots of other options out there for eco-friendly products these days. And some of them are amazing and some of them are just not for you or me or the other person. My only downside for the cups is that it's the silicone It's just more stuff that
Yeah.
isn't going to break down and isn't going to go, you know, and great. They do last for a long time. I had the 100% rubber from the Keeper, which had nothing in it, but an actual rubber plant rubber in it, which made me feel a little bit better. But yeah, a lot of the times, you know, there's disposable cups now. Oh my God, we're just adding more plastic.
Yeah, like what's the point in that?
Yeah. So I don't have anything against cups except for that. Otherwise, as far as using them for your body, they don't disrupt the biome. They're not nearly as bad as tampons are. It's just another thing that we're adding to landfill at some point. To be fair, one cup over 30 years is much less than 30 years worth of disposable products. So super okay. But just throwing that out there. I do really like sea sponges as an internal collection device. I've used those. I've tried those actually a number of times over the years, and I really do enjoy those. But you do have to make sure that they're coming from a sustainable harvest place that's not just going out and destroying beds of sponge, okay? But this is where I end up back at cloth pads because they're just the easiest. They are just the best for the environment. There's a little bit of a learning curve on cups. There's a bit of learning curve on cups for some women. It's more than others, depending on how your body is. But so there are other options, but I keep coming back over and over again to just cloth pads being the best option, really, truly the best option. So if you have questions about other options, please feel free to ask. Again, go to the Red Circle Lady Business and post in there as well. But it just keeps bringing me back to cloth pads, which is why we're focusing on that for this master class. So I wanted to pick Sarah's brain today about what to look for when buying cloth pads and how to take care of them and these kinds of things that as a woman, you know, what kind of sizes do they come in? What should I know? What do I need to look for? What kind of purchases should I be making? And I figured this girl's the expert because she's probably answered these questions 8 kajillion times. And cloth pads tend to help reduce your symptoms. So cramps and these kinds of things can be relieved by using cloth pads because there's nothing in the vaginal canal, there's nothing blocking the flow, there's nothing really impeding your body from doing its job. So just throwing that last little tidbit out there. But if you're looking for a little bit of help in the old symptoms department, just throwing out that idea that cloth pads would be a great place to see. Like it's the perfect place to start and see if it helps. So Sarah, tell us about cloth pads.
Okay. So there was a few questions in there. So first of all, what to look for. So for me, our products, I try to use natural fibers as much as possible. So our core is always flannelette or bamboo. So flannelette is 100% cotton. I also try to make sure it's a little bit tricky, but the dyes are not overly toxic dyes. Whether there's more out now where the dyes in the fabrics are vegan plant-based dyes. So that's what I try to get. It doesn't always happen, so I don't promote it that way, but that's what I always look for. And that's what I would encourage people to look for when they're buying. Again, just to reduce the toxins that are coming near your body, near your skin. As far as, I mean, with us, we do 3 different sizes of liners for Jalila. So we do pads. So we do a liner, which is fine for your really light days, for spotting or for wearing with a cup for those that want extra protection, which whenever I've used a cup, which isn't often, but whenever I've used one, I've never needed a liner. But
I have.
People, Some people like it.
Only because I didn't get it sealed right, not because I
Yeah.
was like overflowing. It was just total user error.
Yeah. It can happen. So, but the day pads are generally about. I really, when I did the design, I kind of just sat down with a disposable and sort of like traced around it. So the sizes are fairly generic for everyone, and I've never had anybody complain that the sizes are too small, too big, whatever. So the day pad has a double bamboo core, and the night pads are triple. The night pads are about 20, from memory, they're about 23, 24 centimeters long. So they're quite a solid pad. Last time I had a blog review them, they said you wouldn't necessarily want to wear the night ones with your black milk leggings, but that being said, I've never noticed them on anyone. So, and most of my friends wear them. So yeah. So they're really solid. The night ones, I've had ladies that have been heavy postpartum bleeding, been using the night ones, and they've not leaked, they've not anything like that. So I'm really happy with the design that we have. If you are looking, then obviously Jalila can answer any questions you have, but there's millions of brands millions of makers, not brands, out there that do them. So as long as you've got a solid core that's a decent length, then you're pretty good with a waterproof layer if you think you need it. I need it. Lots of people don't, so I put it in my pads. But that's an invisible layer. So that also makes care a little bit trickier with a waterproof layer, which I'll talk about in a minute. But the other thing that we've had, I know you've discussed before, Stasha, is the fact that they move around sometimes, or they compress, or they bunch up. So with Jalila, we've kind of solved that problem by making the core compress the core when we're sewing it. So what that means is that the actual core absorbent area isn't able to bunch up. And the other thing we do is we use good quality cotton for the pretty side. And what that means, so we use good quality quilter's cotton. What that means is that it's a lot firmer, and it actually grips to the inside of the underwear. So it doesn't slip around and it doesn't wrinkle up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
So you don't find it, slipping to one side or, any of those things. So they're really, we've tried to answer all of the problems that people have sort of brought to us about, the traditional cloth pads. Lots of people say, what about a nice shiny polyester or a high thread count or something like that? I'm like, do you realize that's just going to slip out the side of your undies and you'll be like lost? So we steer clear of anything like that. So
I love it.
Yeah. So the other thing is the care of them is really simple. It could not be easier. Literally, you take your cloth pad out, chuck it in the washing machine. That's just what I do. Just chuck it straight in the washing machine, and whatever is in the washing machine next, it gets washed with that. Then it's pulled out, and I live in the middle of the coldest part of England, and so it doesn't get a lot of sunshine here, ever. Not like LA, where it'll be beautiful, you can dry in the sun. Or Australia was beautiful. Summer in Adelaide was perfect for drying the cloth pads. But here, I just literally lie them soft side down, so skin side down on top of our heater, and they dry. And they dry in a couple of hours, dry through. So, but do you know, even we are travelers, so we travel. We've we travel all the time. So we call ourselves nomadic. So we have a base in the UK, but we travel out all the time. And we just did a full year of travel. We did like 13 countries, 27 states in America. And I used cloth the entire time, apart from this is a funny story. In New York, it was like 80-90% humidity, 40 degrees. I had been sick with a gallbladder issue like the week before. I'd had a massive infection and I was just so sick, and I got just the killer of all periods, and I broke down and I went into Walgreens in Times Square and I bought a big box of Tampax tampons because I was like, I just cannot walk around with a pad between my legs anymore. And it was just disgusting. So I broke down and I did the whole tampon thing. But apart from that one time, I used cloth the entire time, and literally all I did to wash was take them into the shower with me and wash them with the hand soap that was in the hotel room, and I would put them on the bottom of the shower and I'd stamp them out to squeeze everything out that I could. It sounds, a bit ick, but
I've done this exact thing. So
it's so easy, and I did that, and then so when I was in the shower, that's what happened every day. And then I'd hang that one over the railing of the shower, or wring it out, and then hang it over the railing of the shower, and it was good to go for the next day. So that's what I did the entire time around America and Europe, and it was just so easy. So that's the washing. There's things I think you're probably going to talk about it a bit later in the blood collection side of it, so where you can soak it and collect your blood and stuff like that. But for me, I don't worry about that, particularly because we're travelers. I don't have a garden. I don't really care about all of that. So they just get chucked in the wash. And then, wash on a cold cycle, which is best anyway, with a natural detergent. And then I think I mentioned in the Red Circle a few times, or a couple of months ago maybe, was that it's really good to do a strip wash either every 3-6 months, because even the natural detergents that you can buy, the oxy type cleaners, can build up. So just to do a strip wash, you just chuck all the pads in your washing machine with like a dime-sized squirt of dishwashing liquid, and you put them through that in a cold wash, and then do an extra rinse, and that just strips all the conditioning agents out of the pad, which is what can reduce the absorbency of a pad.
That's like a super secret right there. I love that.
Yeah. So, and the other thing is that dishwashing liquid can also break down the protein. So if you have a pad that's particularly stained and it's not, looking pretty, if you can get to it as soon as the stain is fresh, and just massage a little bit of dishwashing liquid into it and then pop it into the wash, it should reduce the amount of stain that comes out, because it'll break down the proteins from the blood.
I'm going to throw this out there too. Meat tenderizer.
Yes.
That's what it is. It breaks down protein in blood.
Yeah.
That's how it tenderizes meat. And it was a nice gentleman that actually taught me that.
There you go.
Handled the whole blood thing real well, that guy.
Nice.
But yeah, throwing that out there too, because I've done that a few times, dealing with stains, and it works like a charm. So yeah, it's a good one too. I love it. Though, I'm not terribly worried about the stains personally. I'm meh. But
but sometimes you have one that's your favorite, and you're like, it's like a favorite top. You don't want to skip the wine down it or whatever. Yeah. So.
Yep. So true. And that strip wash hack is fantastic, because I did not know that. So I learned something new today. That's amazing. Actually, and to touch on that ritual aspect there with blood collection. In a couple of weeks, I'm actually throwing a period party, and one of the conversations that we'll have during it is an in-depth version of this. So if you really want to get into like some good blood work, let me know. Again, hit us up. But that being said, one of the things that I really like about cloth pads is that while I'm having my bleed, I just chuck them into a little bucket full of water for like a couple of days. And then just take all of that water and give them a really good hand rinse in there. And that water goes out here in LA, just out on the grass, because there's a little grassy patch out back, and it's like there's no garden or anything. But when I had a garden, it went into the garden. In fact, even in New York City, I used to have potted plants, and I actually turned my aloe plant red. Did not know that can be done, but it can.
Right.
Because there was only the one plant for a while, and it was just this one little adorable aloe plant that got all of the blood, and it turned red that month, which was awesome and kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
But now it gets equally distributed. There's a bunch of potted plants outside, and then this nice strip of grass, so everything gets to kind of distribute out there. But it's very nice if you have that option to do and to give back to the world in that way. And there is the old proverb from, I forget the tribe. It is a Native American tribe, but and I probably would butcher the name of it if I tried to say it anyway. But that when women begin to give their blood back to the earth, when every woman gives their blood back to the earth, there will be no need for war.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? Let's see if it works. I'm super willing to give it a try. So, even if it's just like for the first couple of days, especially when it's the heavier flow, and just let that collect and then give that back to the earth. And then everything just gets pitched into the washer. And a lot of times for me, they just go, I even will just dry them out at that stage. And then throw them into my laundry when I'm doing the next little, like, real laundry. So, but like I said, not a huge stain worrying kind of person about it. Also, you could throw a little bit of, after you do that first rinse and let the blood go back to the earth, you could refill and add a little of like the dishwasher liquid or something to just give it a little clean out there. And then throw them into like the bigger laundry cycle when it's convenient. But I've definitely, when I was traveling, I have a cute little pouch. It's like a waterproof liner inside. And I threw my used pads in there. And then when I got to a place with a shower, because I was camping, so I was like a shower every couple of days. It was fine. I was by myself. But I did do that. And then I washed them all in the shower, just like you were talking about. It's so funny. Because I would just throw them in the shower while the shower was warming up in the water, and just stick them on the bottom of the tub and let the shower head just hit them as they were warming up. And then I would just jump into the shower and give them all like a nice scrub with the soap in the shower, and then squish them all out and get all the soap and stuff out of them. And then I actually I left them out overnight on the railing or on the shower bar there. And then in that next day when I would start driving again, I stuck them out on my dashboard. In the sun and just turned on my fog on the front there so that the air would come up through them, and just let them dry in the sun on my drive. So I was like,
it's so funny. I mean, it's just such an easy thing. And even I can't believe that I didn't do it, ages ago, because it is just so easy. And even like I just fold them up and chuck them in the laundry bag when we're traveling, if I don't get a chance to wash, because we've got the snaps, so they fold up nice and small. And they've got the waterproof layer. They're not going to get anything or much on any of the clothes anyway, so they just go in the laundry bag if I haven't, if I'm not showering that day or whatever. You have to be warned that your bathroom can look a little bit like a scene from Psycho, because there's just red everywhere. But it's just so easy. Yeah. Well, it's nothing. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so the last thing that I want to share with you guys is the cloth pads that we have partnered on. So
I can see them reflecting in your glasses.
I know. I'm going to share the screen with you guys, but I want to pull them up before I do that so that you can actually see them all. But we've put together some amazing, I think, different fun cloths that I find a lot more fun to be using than the sad fish with bicycles version, because that's just, I can't with that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so here is the 3-pack. So these are all 3 of the pads that we put together. Then there are the 3 different sizes as well, so you can kind of get a little idea of what they look like here. But we have the pretty mandala. We've got the sugar skulls, and then, of course, the old movie posters with vampires, because hello, and zombies, because it's so funny, and I love it. So we put together these, and let me see if I can... Oh, okay. Let me give you a close-up on them individually. So this is the mandala one, which, how pretty is that? Love it. Goes really well with the chart. Just throwing that out there with the mandala chart. And then we have the sugar skulls, which I think are my personal favorite right now, but I go between the 3 depending on my mood. But these ones are absolutely, when I said I want something with sass and Sarah sent me this print, I was like, done, nailed it.
Yeah, that's the one.
And then when I told her I wanted to giggle, we found this. It was the perfect one. So you can kind of get an idea of them and see what they look like. This is the liner size, so it's a little bit smaller.
Yeah, so that's about 16 centimeters from top to bottom.
Hey Siri, what's 16 centimeters in inches?
Oh, sorry.
6.3 inches.
6.3 inches. Just throwing that out there for the rest of us. For the rest of the world. No, really, it's just us.
Yeah, it is.
I know. This is the overnight one, yes?
That's the mandala one that you've got up, that's the
liner. Okay. And then let me pick, okay, here's the sugar skulls. You see those now?
Yeah.
Okay. So the sugar skulls, these little guys here, this is the day pad, correct?
That's the night pad.
Oh, that's the night pad. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the night pad. And that, how big is that one?
That's about 23, 24 centimeters long.
Okay. For the rest of us? Hey Siri, how much is 24 centimeters in inches?
The answer is 9.45 inches.
There you go.
Could you hear her? 9.45 inches? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. And then lastly, we have the zombies and vampires.
Yeah.
Okay. And so
that's the day.
That's the day pad. Okay, perfect. So that's in between size, and I'm not going to make Siri work for it anymore.
But so I would say that would be about 8 inches, I would say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That would be a safe bet.
Yeah.
So
the day has the double layer core, and the night has the triple layer core and an extra wide core as well. And the night has a double snap, so you can alter the size of the width of the pad.
Oh, awesome. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Oh, God, I can't wait to get mine. I'm so excited. Awesome. Thank you so much. So, you guys, you can go to either one of our websites to get these, but I'm just going to have Sarah tell you where hers is because it's probably easier than mine.
Yep. So ours is easy. It's just jalila.com, JULILAH.com. And in the section of in the shop section, you will find anything with the red circle, Stash a Period Coach on the front is Stash's line that she has chosen. So she's got 3 fabrics there that they're really awesome. And then, yeah, Jalila also has its own line of fabrics as well. But
yeah, I'm a big mix and match girl. Get a whole bunch and just mix and match.
Yeah, pick what you need. So, yeah, that's where you find us, jalila.com. Really
Awesome.
easy, and you can pay. Oh, the other thing is we offer lay-by as well. So if you
We call
obviously
that layaway in the States.
layby.
Or payment plans.
Yeah. So that's a payment plan. It's just a 20% deposit because obviously the cloth is a bit more expensive, even though you save money in the long run. It's a bit more expensive to outlay, obviously. So we do a 20% deposit, and then you can pay it off over 2 months, and then
Perfect. And what I like about that is I've been doing this for a long time with the cloth pads, but all of mine die at the same time. So then I end up having to buy them all at the same time. And I only
don't do that.
Like, I don't want to pay shipping 10 times. I just want to pay it the one time. So I really like that because it gives you the ability to just restock or stock for the first time without having to pay for shipping for, 4 or 5 times over. So I really like that. Thank you. That's an awesome feature that you have there. You can also go to the periodcoach.com. And on the front page, there's a store link that'll take you to or a shop link that'll take you over to my shop. Or you can just do theperiodcoach.com/Stasha Stash, which will take you to the cloth pad. Ultimately, will take you to her shop anyway, because the conversion rates were getting a little complicated to figure out between the different things. And I was like, how about we just make this easier?
Yeah.
So you can I still get credits.
Yes.
If you buy from the Stasha Stash. But either way, you guys can totally go and check them out on either website. But you will ultimately end up back at hers anyway. So just to keep it really easy breezy for you guys more than anything else, because I didn't want to have to be like constantly updating prices, because I want you to have the right price.
Yeah.
And you know how that goes. So we just thought it would be easier to do it this way. Also, it works out for the shipping because the shipping rates she was getting were way better than the shipping rates I was getting. And I was like, we're going to just go with your way because it's better. I don't know why, but yeah, so really freaking love that too. So
And the other thing that people in America can do, or anywhere else in the world, is they can get a group of their friends together and place one order, because then the shipping is our shipping is the same price for 1 pad to like 50, because our price is the same up to 2 kilos. Group.
So it would take a lot to hit that.
Yeah, it would take like
that weight
or 60 pads. See that? So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Brilliant idea, of course. So the last thing that I want to say before closing is, ladies, again, please feel free to ask questions. Use the Facebook group for it. Use it to just find other women in your area too. If you don't have a group of women that want to buy, you might have a woman that you know in the area in the group.
Yeah.
Use it to your advantage, seriously. And then are there any questions? Do you have any questions, our brave live soul? No? Okay, great. Just wanted to be sure. All right. So thank you, Sarah, for coming and for sharing your wealth of knowledge on the subject with us. Thank you for coming live, Katarina. We appreciate it. You're an amazing soul. And then thank you guys for watching the recording. Thank you for watching the recording. Please, again, let us know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. We would love to hear from you. Please go forth and enjoy a non-disposable product for your next period, please. Thank you, guys. We will see you in the group.
Okay, bye.